Hi. After seeing something quite frightening today, I am going to talk about gratitude for today's life lessons from an emotional awareness expert. I was on the way out with my family. We were going to decompress and go somewhere nice because of some stressful situations that have been going on in recent months, weeks, and specifically the other day things got to a bit of a peak. You can watch my previous video to find out more about what happened with that and why I was supporting my daughter and grandson. My granddaughter had gone to her father's for the weekend, and so we decided to take a trip out to go and decompress and find somewhere with some really positive energy. Lots of plants, some beautiful koi fish in this massive indoor pond, and we went to visit a very particularly amazing garden centre. Now, on the way, to go and decompress from everything that's going on the way, we witnessed an accident. It was very sudden that the vehicle coming on in front of us suddenly started to swerve as a car in a side turning pulled straight out and actually had got all the way to the centre line within a split second before the impact, because the other car had taken avoidance, but they impacted in the middle of the road. The oncoming car was then pushed across, smacked into a post and was facing us head on. Trying to get control of this car, began to spin. The driver, incredibly, with a few wobbles, managed to get the car back under control and pulled up alongside us. That's how close we were to a head-on accident today. He literally managed to get under control and then pull up literally opposite us on the other side of the road. And so, of course, adrenaline is going. The other vehicle then continued to pull across and pull off another turning just out of the way. And as I said to my daughter, we've witnessed it. We were first in the front. We have to at least stop and make sure everyone's okay. So my daughter does struggle a little bit with emotions around things like this. She would not get out of the car, and she hasn't on a previous occasion where we've been first at the scene of an accident as well. So this is not the first time for us. The previous time, however, was a lot more serious and there was a lot of blood and injuries involved, sadly. But this one today, it was just a case of she pulled over and her son's in the back as well. So she's not going to get out and leave him on a major road. And so I jumped out and went to check the first car, make sure they're okay. But the traffic is just pushing through, regardless of all the debris across the road. Us parked one side, them the other car ahead. The traffic is trying to push through. They want to keep going. And I was wearing a brand new jacket today. It was the first time I'd worn it. And it's a red leather look jacket. And just like in any superhero movie, this felt really weird actually. First time I've worn this red leather look jacket. And I literally stepped partly into the road, put my hands out both ways, and then continued to walk out, and I stopped the traffic. And just went over and checked the guy and said, and realised he's got passenger as well. And said, are you okay? Are you okay? And yes, thankfully, they were okay. Despite the side-on impact, the whacking into the post on the other side of the road, the losing control, pulling up, they were okay. Whew. And as we looked around up the road, we could see the other driver had got out of his car. He was clearly okay. And nobody else had got involved in this accident, which could have been seriously, seriously nasty. So for me, the gratitude is that despite the incident, nobody was hurt. But when you're at a scene of something like this, and it really does get your emotions going and your hands are shaking like this, your adrenaline is going crazy. And I've been in this situation so many times living in Norfolk. This is not the first time for me. And it's one of those things I've experienced so many times and understood how it affects my adrenaline being at the scene of an accident, that I've learnt to process that. And today I was actually grateful for all the previous experiences, plus the fact that because of the high risk living where we are, that I had spent 7 years in St John Ambulance studying first aid many years ago. And part of that was us learning to manage our own emotions at or after the scene of any event or accident or injury or illness, whatever it was we were dealing with. And we'd had a tremendous amount of support. But on the previous occasions when I've been at the scene of a serious accident with head injuries, facial injuries, goodness knows what else, compound fractures to the legs, all kinds of things that I've witnessed in previous accidents, I have been very aware how it can sometimes take 2 or 3 days to process that adrenaline back out of the body. But today, I'm absolutely fine, although we didn't have to deal with the injury level. And I actually left the scene of the incident okay, because nobody was hurt. So I was, again, the gratitude for my previous experiences, being able to then support the people on scene, and just, the guy was like, I know I've got to go and talk to him, but I'm not sure if I want to. And I just said, I'll let you know, I am an emotional awareness expert. I said, I've dealt with things like this before. And I said, if you are feeling like you're losing your energy or out of control, just turn to me and use mine, tap into mine. I said, because I can support you. And he was the one not to blame, very clearly. So we walked a little way up the road to meet the other vehicle because it's like a staggered junction. So we walked up to the next junction. And there were some other people who had stopped to support that young man who, between us, the witnesses, we all said, all we need to do is exchange insurance details. There is no need to talk about anything else. Everybody's okay. That's the main thing. No one's hurt. Yes, cars, but they can be fixed or whatever. Let the insurance deal with it. And so eventually we were able to leave because we needed to move our car off the road and let the traffic move as well. In the meantime, one of the local residents came out that lived near the junction, or two actually, but one of them had come out and spoke to my daughter who was sitting in the car and explained to her that actually, since he'd been living there, we don't know how long that had been, but he'd seen 5 deaths at that junction. That is awful, without all the numerous other accidents where there were either injuries or no injuries involved. And so, wow, yes, we were definitely grateful that this one was not a serious accident as far as people go. The cars, definitely, there'd more likely be some write-offs involved because they were quite seriously damaged. So gratitude, like I said, for nobody injured. Gratitude for the fact that the cars kept the people safe. Modern technology in cars is amazing, and all the crash and testing and impact stuff that is done means that compared to even 20, 30 years ago, getting in a car is so much safer today than it used to be. That's a gratitude. And for all of the accidents that I've seen over the last 30 plus years on the road, I have always, and this is where I make it like a kind of a mojo thing, I don't know, I always share a gratitude for getting home safely when I've been out on the roads around here. Because, as I said, I have seen some horrendous things. And so for me, it's always a gratitude when I get somewhere and I get home in one piece. That's the other one. The final one, again, with being an emotional awareness expert, was getting back in the vehicle to leave the scene of the incident. My grandson was then saying he was scared. But I'm scared because I saw that and what if that happens to us and that could have been bad. And so the final one was having the power of gratitude and having practiced it so much myself over many years and using gratitude as a personal development technique amongst many other strategies. I was able to then talk him through, like, yes, this happened, but nobody was hurt, so we be grateful for that. And I also put in a lot of gratitude for his mum's driving. And I do owe her that gratitude today. And I explained to him that his mummy was watching the road. And that's why we don't distract her while she's driving. She was watching the road. She braked quickly enough to avoid the accident coming towards us. But she didn't brake so quickly that people ran into us from behind. And I said that she is a very good driver, bless her. And she reacted perfectly to that today. just as the oncoming guy who got hit side on at 50 miles an hour also managed to somehow get his car in control and back over on his side of the road. And so by the time I talked him through all these gratitudes and said about modern cars and engineering and how it's all great these days, he calmed down, and he said, but I'm still going to get scared thinking about it. And I said, that's okay. Sometimes we do think about things and we get scared, but then we can remind ourselves, yes, it is scary, but I am grateful that, or I am grateful for, or I am grateful because, right? And you use these terminologies to carry on. So if you say, I am scared of this because, but I am grateful for, and then you add a positive onto the end, you change how you feel about it. Because it's not guaranteed that every journey you're going to go on, something's going to happen, or at any time ever. But being afraid is guaranteed to make every journey scary. What we need to do is turn that fear into focus. So when you're driving, it's about being focused on the attention, the details, following the highway code, driving safely. And if you're the passenger, allowing the driver to focus. And this can be a very difficult one with children in the car when they are fighting, arguing, screaming, yelling, Mummy, I want this, Mummy, I want that. But actually it's a conversation even with small children. You can focus on them understanding that you need to focus and have a key word. So when you're on a straight and you're going along a nice clear bit of road, yes, talk. But maybe introduce a key word where they understand that I need to focus. Or, right, we need to stop talking, I need to pay attention. Or for some, mine used to say, I'm at a junction, right? So for my children would start talking, I'd say, I'm at a junction. And they understood then that for the time I was in that junction and paying attention to traffic, waiting to pull out or turning off, that they needed to let me focus. And so I just say there is so much you can be grateful for today for actually getting home safely. Grateful for all the experience and the emotional awareness I have, that I could support people on the scene, because the other witness who was there was also partially traumatised, seeing it on top of the fact that her son's already written 2 cars off this year. So that was making her adrenaline go crazy. And so I gave her one of my cards because I'd grabbed them in a hurry, just rather than trying to remember details and numbers. So I did give out the cards today. But just so I hope that it helps and inspires you, and that if you have anything in life where you feel like it's a little bit scary, a bit uncertain, is it something you can add gratitudes to? Because they are a very, very powerful healer. And when you can use them in a scene like that and actually help to bring your emotions back to normal that quickly, it is a really helpful tool for many things in life. Even if it's you've actually got out of bed today, because normally you can't, gratitude is really, really powerful. But at the same time today, witnessing an accident coming straight at us down the road, I am super grateful to be home in one piece and that my family are all home safe too. So I hope I can also be grateful to you for a like, a share, a comment, and for letting me know how this has inspired you, or if you've shared it to help someone else who needs it. So thank you for listening to another life lesson, fresh from the press today, from me, Kay Reeve, and you can check out my website details in the link below. Take care, bye bye, and see you for the next life lesson.